Zatanna, Bring Down the
Hey.
House, issue 2, Mariko Tamaki with Javier Rodriguez on the art. So, yeah, we quite enjoyed issue 1 of this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It had a big cliffhanger where this demon thing attacked
Mm-hmm.
on stage at the end. We're still doing the flashbacks though, where we are continuing this. Zatanna made this boy disappear, and this flashback here starts with like her father coming to her room. And I will say, I love how they're presenting Zatara in these flashbacks, where he's in shadow and
Uh-huh.
silhouette, and it really makes him feel like he was less of a father figure and more of this like presence in our life that wasn't this
Yep.
loving, caring thing, you know. Uh,
Yeah. And
Good
this is
stuff.
her perspective, right? We're seeing stuff from her
Yes.
perspective. So we're not quite sure why. And I feel there's gonna be a big reveal about why we're seeing Zatara like this. Um, but yeah, I love it because you never see his face. He takes up a lot of space, like his coat. It's almost like Doctor Strange's cape. It seems to have
Mm.
a mind of its own, taking up, and because that's what she's perceiving, right? That her dad is this larger than life character.
Yeah. And they go out to the forest where the boy disappeared. And he's like, "Hey, you have to do exactly what I say," and it sort of leaves it there, and we come back to sort of
Hmm.
to it a little bit later as it intercuts into the story. But he puts a blindfold on her, and is going
Hmm.
to give her instructions. But we come back to the present day. We come back to basically two old ladies out in the strip, just watching this hotel and stage place,
Yeah.
this theater, burn down. There's like firefighters out trying to fight the fire. Inside though, the stranger, who's I guess is what we're calling this other magician
Yeah.
character, is fighting the demon, and she's basically saying, "Hey, Zatanna, you have to help me fight this." And Zatanna's like, "But I don't do magic. I only do
Yeah.
tricks."
But no, but I like this too because she's so fearful, and the I don't do magic. She feels like a little kid, right?
Yeah,
It's almost like this is just inherently part of her. She's like, no, I'm a stage magician, and it's almost like this is stirring up those memories of her dad.
it's I think what I like here about the coloring is that obviously all these like seats in the theater are on fire,
Mm.
but the stranger's all in blue light as if it's magic light emanating, and then the
Yeah,
demon's all in purple. It really sort of paints this idea that they are not quite of this world in some way.
yeah.
And whereas Zatanna right now is just got the glow of the fire on her in
Hmm.
these pages, like a 2-page layout here that I'm looking at.
She's very, very human in a world that's not
Yeah.
almost.
And then the stranger sort of like transforms her clothes into what her actual costume is, I guess. And she's got hair that's very oh, how to describe
It's
this? It
it looks
almost
very look. I don't watch Dragon Ball Z, but I'm familiar. It's very Super Saiyan esque
sure.
hair.
Well, it was a couple of pages actually later, when I was thinking she was giving me almost, and this is just the hair, right? Let me make that
Yeah,
clear. Almost a little bit Wolverine. It was when
yeah.
I think it's because like she has this thing in the art where I don't know if it's her hair or like I guess it is because it's connected to her hair, but there's like her forehead and just like it's almost like she's got a cowl on like Batman,
Yeah.
right? But it's like part of her hair. It's a weird thing to think
It's
about.
kind of like Clarion. Now that you mention it, you know how Clarion's hair, the witch boy,
Oh, a little bit, yeah, a
how
little
it
bit.
kind of drips down like his
But
bangs, take up his full forehead, and then you see the rest of it come through. It's very similar to that.
But I think because it connects to like her eyes and
Yeah.
like there's a cowl looking effect, it made me
Hmm.
think of Wolverine with the spiky hair at the back.
Yeah.
Even though
Yeah.
Wolverine splits in two, obviously, and hers doesn't. But
Right.
I get the Super Saiyan thing.
Well, and
I would never have made that comparison because I've never seen
yeah.
an episode of that show because I'm an adult.
E-
But
Either have I. I just know it from pop culture.
yeah, and I'm trying
Um,
to piss people off with that. Right? Don't
I got
don't
you.
don't at me, people. Okay,
She's.
I'm
I
poking the
also like that
bears.
this stranger character is also very angular, like her hair, like the way that the artist draws her. She's always like her feet there when she jumps into action, where
Yes.
she says, "Love this for me." Her legs are at all a bunch of different angles. Like she's very, almost. I don't want to call her like a weapon, but she seems like a weapon.
Well, I mean, I think it just goes back to what I was saying about her standing out and feeling like she's not
Yeah.
part of this world because everything
Mhm.
else is like, just orange and red from the fire, and she's just got this bright glow emanating
Yeah.
light coming from her
Cool.
and
A
a blue
cool
outfit.
blue and the heat
Yeah.
of
But yeah,
oranges.
the part that made me think of Wolverine though was where she sort of leans right into Zatanna's face,
Uh-huh.
right? And they're like, and they drop the speech bubbles, and it's just like the plain text with the lines coming from their mouth,
Hmm.
and it's like, I don't like you, same. I hate this, same.
Yeah.
I just for some reason like I was like, Same. Like I was getting like a Wolverine like tone.
Hey, Tamaki did write Laura, right?
That's true.
In Wolverine,
That's
so
true.
maybe she's tapping into that aspect. But no, I definitely get that.
Yeah, I know. It was giving me some vibes. But she's like, okay, we have to go somewhere. You're coming with me. Zatanna's not very happy about it. So it's a very, a lot of animosity. Animosity is the word I'm looking for,
Animosity. Yep.
between them right here. But she draws a portal and takes her through to the Palace of Casters, which she says is only 10 minutes away. I'd love to know on what plane of existence she means when she says 10 minutes away. But
she says 10 miles.
Oh, 10 miles, sorry. 10 miles. Well, same difference.
Also, it's curious, too, that when we see her use magic, she's doing the backwards talking that we're used to Zatanna doing.
Oh, that's a good point, yeah. She's doing exactly what Zatanna normally does.
Yes, so which I think is curious, but yes. So we get to the portal, or the Palace of Casters, which very much looks like, to me, it kind of looks like renditions of the Fortress of Solitude. You know, these big statues,
I mean,
instead of a bunch of... Go ahead.
I was going to say, no, it looks more like Picasso vomited onto like a blueprint somewhere.
Well, I was going to say that, but instead of like Kryptonian crystals, it's almost like Fate's Tower. It's almost like you took the Fortress of Solitude and Fate's Tower and smashed them together. There's a lot of odd angles, a lot of. It doesn't make sense when you look at it. So I guess that's where the Picasso. I get where you're saying that comes from too.
Well, not even just the angles of the stairs and the walkway. I'm thinking even like the hand and the face coming out of the pool or whatever it is on the side. That's very Picasso to me. I don't think there's any correlations to Fortress of Solitude. I just think you're such a Superman nerd that you see statues in a building and you immediately think Fortress of Solitude.
And the weird angles on everything too, right? It's kind of Crystal-esque. So that's just what I saw it as.
Yeah, but I wouldn't describe the fortress as having weird angles. Like they're very they're a very simple pattern, right? You can always expect them to go a certain way. They're always crossing.
And these aren't. These are going in different directions and all that stuff. So
this is more erratic, hence the Picasso comparison. But yeah, so basically we find out here that the stranger didn't think that Zatanna, who she refers to as Top Hat, would be very useful, right? And she obviously, even though she says, "Oh, the demon appeared during her show," like she sort of emphasizes that, like, "Oh, she's a staged magician," kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, this woman, the leader of the the casters, she is basically, she's given Zatanna a lot of shit for saying it's her fault even that this is happening now. And insinuates that she's to blame for her father's disappearance, and this is where it starts intercutting with the flashback. And it seems like whenever Zatanna put the blindfold around her and had her say some magic words, some beams of light came from Zatanna, and then her father was nowhere to be found. And then there's like panels of her sitting in a police station, and this implied she was into foster care and things like that. But it does seem like Zatanna has like some extreme level of power that she's not aware of, that it's like stronger than anyone else or something like that. But Zatanna's like, look, I've tried to use magic since he disappeared, but my connection to the magic world has been gone ever since he died. I have not achieved a goddamn thing magically since that day. So it's really painting this picture. And we also get these panels of like this sort of elder caster lady watching from the shadows, like when she's going to school one day, the idea that they've been keeping an eye on her all these years and watching what she's been doing.
Now, do you think that's because she's responsible for her dad's death, or because she is this, natural conduit of, magical energy?
I think both can be true. I would suggest it's more about her power level, and that they think that her father's gone because something backfired because she is so powerful, but rather than they think, oh, she did it intentionally, now they have to keep an eye on her because she's suspicious or something.
Right. Well, it seems to me like too that they need to keep an eye because maybe something else was acting, and trying to use her, and maybe that's why she doesn't do magic anymore.
Yeah, because she explains that a demon is the result of magic that's unchecked and it's in chaos. And it kind of suggests maybe, there's an inner magic to Zatanna that she's not really aware of, that she's not controlling in any way. She even makes fun of the old lady when she sort of does a card trick and pulls out the card and says, "Ta-da."
Out from behind her ear, which I thought was so funny because that's Michael Scott level stuff.
Well,
You
she's
know?
obviously doing it to make a point, and the old lady
Yeah.
does not look happy. She looks
No.
very, very miserable. But yeah, the stranger says, "Look, I'll just get her back to her shitty condo, and this can all be done." Blah blah blah, and just shoves her out the portal and says, "Nope, never going to see you again. Bye bye." But the cliffhanger here is that Zatanna's like, "Why is there people cooking? Why is there something on the stove in my apartment?" And she's like getting ready to, come after someone. Someone's making carrot soup specifically.
Yeah.
And she comes into the main room, and we're greeted with Bunny Girl.
A bunny lady. Yeah, she's sitting there. She has big bunny teeth.
And
She's holding some of Zatanna's bunnies.
yeah,
and then these big bunny ears coming out of the top of her head.
Yeah, I would say the ears might. I mean, even the teeth might not be real. I suppose they could, but
Yeah.
I mean, the ears could just be a headband with some bunny ears on them. I mean, for all I know,
They could be.
But she is making carrot soup. But is that for her? Or is that for the bunnies? Do the bunnies like carrot soup?
The bunnies seem to be like at ease with her, right?
Yeah.
Like they're not troubled by her. But yeah, she says that
if this is an obscure DC character that we just don't know, then I can't wait to find out. But I certainly have no idea.
It's definitely not White Rabbit because they're not in Gotham, right? No. So we can rule out White Rabbit. But it also made me think of Hoppy and how much Hoppy loves, the different food.
I don't think we're doing a Hoppy connection here.
No, I don't either. But it just, that's what it kind of reminded me of. But yeah, usually on Lincoln Comic Geeks, they list some of the characters that pop up, and there's nothing on this one.
Something filled in, yeah. So the other important thing here is that the only thing she really says is that the casters are lying. So it's like, okay, seed of doubt, what they're lying about exactly, where's that going? But then she also says, and so are you, which makes me think that either Zatanna has lied about using magic since then, and this is more like she's scared to use it, so she never will kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or does she not know she's lying? Maybe she did a spell on herself to never use magic or something like that. Like maybe that's what's going on here, or she's given herself amnesia for something specific. She's made herself forget.
Something might have backfired when she was looking for her dad.
Yes.
And all this other stuff. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah. No, I mean, I enjoyed this issue again. I think all the action stuff early on is good fun. It flowed really well. The use of colors was especially really good. I kind of glossed over it, but I really liked the effect when the stranger opened the portal to take her to the Caster's Palace. I really liked this. They did this kind of like harsh like light on them as they walked through the door, as if they were stepping it into like sort of like unbelievably bright sunlight. And effectively, all it is in terms of art is that it's basically, not only is it not colored, it's also kind of like de-emphasized with the inks, right? They've made it just like a light blue ink as opposed to anything else. But it has this effect, especially in the second part of it, where it's sort of like lifting, so the bottom half of them is in full color, but the top half still in this harsh, bright light. So you can sort of, it creates the impression of a light lifting or a door or window closing to sort of like block this incredible light. I just thought that was a really nice nice effect.
A lot of the stuff that Rodriguez is doing with the light too, because you get to those panels of Zatara and Zatanna in the past, and just the way that the light cuts at different angles, and the way that it lays over the shadows. Yeah,
because you've got like when he's putting the blindfold on, she's dropped the torch or the flashlight, so you've got this harsh just beam of light in the bottom of the panel. That's really nice. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there.
So just the way that it's playing with light and whatnot too here, which I think was also indicative of the book and magic, because the casters bring up that Zatanna is, essentially how I took it is she's almost emanating chaos magic. And if they're all about order, that would be, light, dark, all this other type of stuff.
Also, I think, see, when it goes back to her apartment, I think you almost forget how muted the colors are and all that Castor Palace stuff. Because even the flashback colors are also muted, and that's been like a consistent thing as well. But when you go back to the apartment and it goes back to the regular colors, like, oh shit, it's so vibrant because we've been doing all those muted colors. Yeah,
purples and oranges. Like the smell of the carrot soup is this orange cloud.
Yes.
drifting around the apartment, and yeah, it really sticks out. So then when you see the bunny girl in her green hair and orange and black socks and whatever, she stands out even more than the casters do, who are all very, like you said, muted and drab.
She's very, very colorful. Yes, very colorful. Yeah, and even like behind her, you've got almost the panel split because it's the curtains I think that are making this, but it's basically half red and half blue behind her. Which I don't know if that's might even be like a subtle little thing of like which side is she on kind of thing. Like, is she a good guy? Is she a bad guy? Who knows? But it says next time down the rabbit hole, so things are going to get weirder, presumably. I think what I like about this book is that it's doing a good job of feeling like it's really setting up this backstory with Zatanna and her dad, and kind of like sort of peeling back at it. Now that we've had 2 issues and seeing how that's kind of flowing, because I expect there's going to be more. I fully expect that every issue will have some flashbacks to the next part of her childhood, and kind of explore. Maybe build it up to something that she has forgotten because she made herself forget with magic or something. But, is this a Zatanna that did work with some of the Justice League already? Is it a Zatanna who's on her own world? Because I'm thinking about being super with Supergirl, and we said the entire time, this is a Supergirl where Superman doesn't exist. But then the little twist at the end is that, no, he does. She goes and sees him at the end, and that was like a big thing. So I wonder if this is like a Zatanna who's forgotten that she's ever worked with any other superheroes.
Right, and why would that happen? What has happened to make her forget? The
mystery's intriguing so far. Art's fantastic. The way it's telling the story, the colors are very good. And it's funny at times as well. I like some of the banter she had with the stranger, or even with the old lady. So
it's driving me nuts. The stranger reminds me of a character, and I can't put my finger on it. So maybe that's the point. It's supposed to be a little bit outside, reminiscent of a bunch of different magical characters in DC, but yeah, a lot of good stuff, man.
Not Gary Busey's character in Under Siege?
No, definitely not that.
Just thought I'd check. All right, what are you rating Zatanna bringing down the house?
I'm gonna give this an 8.5.
Yeah, I think I'm there with the 8.5. I think it's very good. Excited for the next issue.